I appreciate you coming out on this nice day. Actually, could be much worse. I like to think that, oh, it's springtime, it's March. It's March in Buffalo, it's not springtime yet. But I do appreciate everyone coming out for what is important in so many ways, because you're not only here standing up for science, you're standing up for our democratic republic. If you had told me 10 years ago that here we'd be in 2025 dealing with all the issues that we're dealing with on a constitutional level, but that we'd be having measles outbreaks in the United States, and now 2 people have died, including a child. And in New York State, just a couple of years ago, an unvaccinated man is now permanently paralyzed due to polio. I would have said, you're joking. Those illnesses have been eliminated. But unfortunately, what we see in our country today are not facts ruling, but people's beliefs. And I saw something on Facebook earlier about someone who was quite ill, and how individuals were going to pray for them, and prayer was going to bring them back to good health. And I'm thinking to myself, the miracle is not prayer, the miracle is science that's going to bring. And if you look at this crowd today, and if this is 100 years ago, we would be talking about all of these illnesses killing individuals. We would be talking about lifespans that were 10, 15, 20 years younger dying than what we see today. When they chose the timeline, the date for Social Security, you people understand this in the 1930s when they created Social Security, and they created the Social Security age, 65. You know why that was chosen? Because that was the average date of death for Americans in our country. So if you live past 65, you got a bonus, you got Social Security. Well, that is not today. But unfortunately, what we're seeing in our country today is the ignoring of science, the trampling down of science, the appointment of a Secretary of Health and Human Services who's an anti-vaxxer. And that's why it is so important that you come out today and voice your opinion. This is a wholesale attack on science and healthcare in America. It's as simple as that. Just about a week and a half ago, the House passed a budget by one vote in which they're requiring the cuts in the committee that handles Medicaid of $880 billion over a 10-year period. Now they're going out there and saying, we're not cutting Medicaid, we're not cutting Medicaid. And technically they haven't cut Medicaid yet. But the committee that's responsible for Medicaid has to come up with the $880 billion worth of cuts. If they cut every other program under that committee's auspices, they don't even get halfway to $880 billion over a 10-year period. So what are they doing? They're going to cut Medicaid. They're going to cut funding for hospitals, because a huge component of Medicaid is funding for hospitals. We know about the cuts to NIH and the impact that'll have on research. It's research and scientists like the individuals that are in Niagara Square today as to why people are living longer, why people are not dying of diseases like they did. It is very important that you're here today, but you can't stop. You have to continue with this. Now, I know a lot of you have called and written letters and emails to congressional representatives like Nick Langworthy, You need to continue doing that. And you know where you need to go? You need to do this at their offices. Yeah. Remember, in COVID, the COVID deniers and the anti-vaxxers not only protested in Niagara Square, they came to my house and protested. They came to the Raft Building and protested. Our great health commissioner, Gail Burstein, they came to her house and protested. And we didn't stop. But you need to put pressure on them. You need to put pressure on them and remind them that you are their constituents. You are the citizens of the United States, and we will not allow our country to be taken back 100 years. When the president says he wants to make America great great again. What the hell time is he talking about? Because if you look at the history of our country, we've had wonderful times and we've had terrible times. And we've had people that have been out there fighting for decades after decades to ensure that each and every one of us has a better life as a resident of the United States. So on behalf of the people of Erie County, I want to tell you that I stand with you, Erie County government stands with you, our Erie County Department of Health stands with you, and we need to continue the pressure. The pressure is working. You are seeing them. After the pressure is put on and court cases are put on, backtrack from what they announced they were going to do. It's happened already, and that's why we need to continue it. And the pressure has to go on the congressional representatives. It really is in their hands. I was just in Washington earlier this week, and I had a great conversation with Congressman Tim Kennedy. I saw a number of congressmen that I know. I went to Nick Langworthy's office, and I stood there, and I waited, and I waited, and I waited. And I was told, unfortunately, County Executive, the congressman's in a meeting. And I was like, I'm not really surprised, because he does not want to hear from the people in his community. Because he knows if he hears from the people of Western New York, they're going to tell him that they want to support science. They want to support facts. They want to support what this country has always stood for, which is being a shining light to the rest of the world. And right now we are not. We are not a shining light to the rest of the world. The rest of the world and the free market world is turning its back on the United States. Heck, our good friends in Canada are booing us now. We need to stand up and tell them we will not stand for this. So not only is it great that you're here today, you need to continue it. Send a message to Nick Langworthy. Send a message to Claudia Tenney. Send a message to Donald Trump that on our watch, we will not allow this to happen in the United States of America. Thank you all.